I don't know about you, but I know my ideal comfort room wouldn't be playing scenes from The Birds. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2019 sci-fi drama, Ad Astra. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All of my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Ad Astra stars Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones, and Liv Tyler, and was directed by James Gray. It tells the story of astronaut Roy McBride, played by Brad Pitt, as he ventures into deep space in search of his father with the hope of preventing the destruction of the solar system. I have to admit that even after thinking on this movie for several days, I don't quite know how to verbalize my feelings about it. And I can't tell if that's something that's praiseworthy of the movie or damning of it. I will say that I think general audiences will find this to be a fairly disappointing movie, but I think that's in large part due to the somewhat misleading marketing. The trailers present this as a space action drama, but that's kinda deceptive. There are certainly exciting moments, but if you're going into this expecting a sci-fi action blockbuster, you're definitely going to be disappointed. Ad Astra is first and foremost an introspective character study. It delves into things like duty, loneliness, apathy, and even father-son relationships under the guise of a futuristic space movie. And when you think about it, space is the perfect setting to explore those themes. The vast, unknown expanses of the universe breed loneliness and reclusivity, and the central plot of an astronaut searching for his long-lost father falls right in line with the broader ideas of emotional distance and self-discovery. So it's no surprise that space movies have covered this material before. The film certainly retreads themes and even plot points of other space movies, but something about it is distinctive. Here, we really get a sense of our protagonist's inner thoughts. Some might criticize this movie for telling more than it shows with Roy, but I think it's very fitting for the story. Roy is presented as this exceptionally reserved, calm, and collected professional. He can compartmentalize the various aspects of his life, and as a result, comes across fairly stoic, which makes it really hard for us to get a good reading of him. So the frequent voiceover narration, and especially the psychological evaluations Roy has to submit, provides us with insight that's really essential to our understanding of his character. And it should come as no surprise, but Brad Pitt's performance takes it to a whole nother level. He's able to portray Roy's hyper-focused outward appearance without sacrificing the subtleties of his inner turmoil. Although the character side of this movie is definitely the focus, there's no denying that the sci-fi and space aspects are impressive too. The near-future setting is great, and it's really interesting to see the filmmaker's vision of things like commercial lunar travel and deep space exploration. This is a visually stunning movie, and all of the space scenes are incredibly artistically crafted. Even though they're not the focus of the story, there are a lot of impressive action sequences in this film. They're spaced out in a way that anytime the movie begins to feel like it's losing steam, something eventful will happen to grab your attention again. Whether that be the thrilling space antenna sequence, the surprisingly exciting lunar rover chase, the tense Mayday response, or any number of other memorable sequences. They're great, but do feel a bit episodic, making you keenly aware of their purpose as excitement injectors into the story. Ad Astra is the type of movie that I think needs multiple viewings. Not because it's got a complex plot or is difficult to understand the first time around, but because of its characterization and main themes. I realized pretty early on in this movie that it was a character study, but I couldn't help but be intrigued by the mystery of the plot too. So I think now that I know what happens, a second viewing would let me really focus exclusively on Roy, because I think there's a lot more to his character than I was able to pick up on this first time around. This movie is certainly a slow burn, but if you go into it with the right mindset, the deliberate pacing reveals a thought-provoking look into the mind of somebody who is emotionally, and eventually physically, isolated. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one is the introspective character study. On the surface, this seems like a slow-paced space drama, but the themes it explores through the lens of Roy's stoicism and focus are really interesting, and at times, surprisingly relatable. Using a sci-fi movie to expound on these ideas isn't exactly unique, but it's done in a really compelling and thought-provoking way here. Brad Pitt's performance definitely helps to sell it, and I found myself really captivated by the character. Pro number two has gotta be the visuals. They're genuinely striking at points and add this grand cinematic art house flair to the contained character-driven story. Space movies are kinda known for being visual groundbreakers. Everything from 2001: A Space Odyssey to Gravity and Interstellar have brought something visually innovative and impressive to the table, and now we can include Ad Astra in that conversation. As far as cons go, the only issue I had with this movie was its pacing, and I personally wouldn't consider it a big issue. There's no question that Ad Astra is a slow burn. If that comes as a surprise to you when you're in the theater, then the pacing is going to be a huge detriment for you. But if you go in expecting a character study, then I think you'll be okay with the pace. It's certainly slow, and at times a little too slow, but the interjections of action really help to maintain interest when the story starts to drag a bit. I'm going to give Ad Astra 4 out of 5 paws. To be honest, when I first started to write this review, I wasn't sure what I was going to give it. Even now, I'm not sure I could back up this rating with anything tangible. Just something about the exploration of the character of Roy connected with me, and the more I think about it, the more profound it seems. I'll be interested to see if my feelings about it change on rewatch, but for now, I've gotta go with 4 paws. I would recommend Ad Astra to people who like character studies. If the inner thoughts of a character and how those thoughts dictate the character's actions are something you find interesting, then I think you'll really like this movie. It's certainly a bonus if you enjoy sci-fi movies and space exploration. Just don't go into it expecting an action blockbuster, because it's definitely a slow burn. If you liked Ad Astra, I would recommend Moon for another character-driven space movie that explores ideas of loneliness and isolation. Despite its pretty small scope, it's got a really compelling story. For another recent space movie that centers on a highly focused and professional astronaut character, be sure to check out First Man. Rather than the near future, that movie explores Neil Armstrong's life during the 1960s and his run-up to the Apollo 11 mission. And if the impressive visuals of Ad Astra were what you enjoyed, definitely check out Interstellar. It's a much faster-paced film, but there are definite visual similarities. Plus, it explores the trade-off between family and space work. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Ad Astra? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what's your favorite character-driven space movie? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information out of this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainely Movies, the way life should be.